I'd like to point something out.
Yeah.
You've done something that I've never done in my professional career.
I've reached out to a guest.
I've never I'm saying it on camera. I've never responded to a review. Restaurant Punk, what's up? Restaurant Punk.
Restaurant Punk.
Restaurant Punk. Go ahead, Nico, say it.
What, punk?
Nico, Nick, Yianni. What's going on, boys? What you got? Oh, that was pretty good. Was that me?
It's you.
That was an imitation of me? Is that what I sound like? Al Pacino, the movie Heat. That's where I get it from.
Yeah.
You can get killed walking your doggy. Do me a favor, watch that tonight. Just watch it. Just watch it. It's Robert De Niro. It's Al Pacino. I mean, come on. I know it's 3 hours long, but I
love Al Pacino.
I love
It's one of my favorites.
Classics.
I love it.
Right.
All right, boys. What are we thinking? What do you want to do? You want to go out? Go to Vegas? What do you want to do? Greece? Go to Athens for the night? What are you thinking? What do you want to do?
Good with all the above. Why not all of them?
In one night on our private Cara jet?
Wow, imagine.
We do not have a jet.
We will
Yeah.
be there eventually.
No, we won't.
Oh,
No.
you
What, we're going to fly around in our private jet? Who does
The carriage jet.
I don't know.
Carriage jet.
Let's just open another restaurant instead of buying a jet.
What if we open
Even
a
better.
restaurant on a jet?
I feel like that's been done.
I feel like we could do it better.
I'm going to Google it after this episode.
Jet
Okay.
restaurants.
Fact check. Fact check.
Fact check.
All right.
So I want to talk about whose word to you means or holds more merit, an employee or a guest. So I'll give you an example.
Ooh.
So this weekend,
That's a good one.
I had a situation come up at the restaurant. The staff is supposed to be there 8:30
Okay.
to make sure that the store is open. The server got there first, 8:15, and says that as soon as they got to the store, the guest that had a 9 o'clock reservation came up and demanded to be seated at that time.
At 8:15.
She said at 8:45, excuse me.
Oh, 8:45. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So at
Got it.
8:45, the guest comes up, demands to be seated at the time. The person that was doing the prep work in the kitchen is not yet there.
Okay.
They arrive very shortly after this instance with the guest transpires. The guest leaves, says that we did not accommodate them at the 8:45 that we wanted to, but they insist that they were there at 9. So I reach out personally to the guests,
Okay.
the employees, because on this day I show up at 9:15. I get milk in the morning, get orange juice,
Right,
get a
right,
couple rogue things for the store. So I come in, service is running smooth.
Uh-huh.
I see people sitting down in the dining room. They're drinking their coffees. The first order of tots are going out for
Okay.
brunch. So I just think that, the day is normal as it is. So then a little while later, review pops up. I see, nobody's there at 9 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
So they said that, they never got a phone call. They never got anything for an explanation. So I call because I'm curious. To see
This is after you read the review.
This is after I read the review.
Was the
I had
review the
no-
same day as the incident?
It was the next day.
The next day. Okay,
The next day.
got
So
it.
because I had no.
And you reached
I
out
had
to them?
Yeah, so I reach out because I'm
Okay.
curious to see what's
Uh-huh.
going on. Because from my perspective, everything was running according to
Now,
what
did you
I saw.
reach out online? Did you respond to the review?
So I respond online
Ooh.
and I offer an apology despite not knowing, because I'm taking the word from that perspective. I say, you know what? Let me just reach out now, offer an apology,
Uh-huh.
and then I will call personally and I will see exactly what's going on. So I go in the next day. Obviously, this time when I see the review, it's late, so I don't call employees. I don't
Right.
ask any questions. So the next day, everybody comes in, and I ask, what's going on? This is the review that we got yesterday. What happened? The one girl, like I said, says, the server, says that it was 8:45. Nobody was here yet. She got me at the door. I'm trying to get in the door, and I told her that things weren't going to be ready yet, so she got mad and she left. And because she didn't want to wait to be seated by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And I talked to the prep girl. She's like, yes, I was a little late, but I showed up right before 9. I got the store open.
Okay.
Everything went well. Then we brought in the first couple people. So she had no idea that any of the interaction with the server even transpired.
Interesting.
So then I called the lady on the telephone. We talk. She says that she got there 5 minutes before 9 o'clock.
5 minutes before 9
So
o'clock.
she says that she got there 5 minutes before 9 o'clock.
But on the review,
It says that she was there at 9 o'clock and nobody was there.
okay.
So I have 3 different stories going on now. I don't have any real perspective on it because I'm just listening to everything that everyone has told me, And again, from my perspective, when I walked in at 9:15,
Right.
service looks like it's running well. There's people.
And you showed up. Okay, so you showed up 15 minutes after opening.
Yeah.
And everything's just going.
Yeah.
You have 3 different stories. What do you think, Nico?
Yeah, here's my thing. Sorry. This interaction happened. Did the server tell you when you arrived?
So
Good one.
the server did mention that something happened in the morning time. She's like, oh, somebody came and bum rushed me at the door, but I'm just getting in. the information doesn't really like stick because I'm looking at all the other things that are going on around me. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, like, did you get your pancake mix ready? Like, I'm thinking about all this shit that needs to, happen for brunch to be successful.
Well, I like where Nico's going with this because
she mentions something, but to me,
Yeah,
like I said,
if there's a situation, an incident, and you're there 15 minutes after or 20 minutes after, like, hey, by the way, this happened. She was very rude. She said, I demand to be seated now. And then she left. It's like the first thing that you should know about.
right.
If she doesn't tell you that, it almost feels like she wasn't there at 8:45. She might have been there at 9 or 8:55 or whatever the case may be. She could be lying. Maybe she's not. Who knows? But that's information that you need to know regardless as a
Right.
business owner. If there's a situation, you got to know about it so you can be able to handle it. You were kind of blindsided, to be honest with you.
with the review,
Enough
part
to
of it.
write a review saying I'm sorry, where it could have been the client was all lying, because we've had plenty of those in my field, in my rule, in my experience. The customer's not always right.
But who do we trust? Who do you trust? Like, so you're going one way about this. He's going one way. I'm going another way about this. Like, I'm going to compare it. Now, I want to say, obviously, I trust the employees more.
Right.
But they have been known to, I don't want to say lie.
Embellish.
Well, they mentioned something happened.
Right.
They didn't really get into detail. So the first thing as you were telling me this story and running through everything, the first thing that came to my head is walking into any of our restaurants.
Right.
And I don't know, I pull aside a server. I'm like, hey, how's your night going? Oh, it's fine. And when I hear the word fine, I'm like, that's pretty broad.
Right.
There's more. So when you say embellishment,
Right.
like did the server or the person at the door really take it like this woman is really upset because she didn't cause a scene? And may I ask, did you see the review? I know you saw the review the next day.
Right.
Do you remember if the review was the day of or that day?
It was the next night. Because I saw
so
the
it wasn't
review.
right away.
No, it wasn't right away. I saw it
Interesting.
at like 10:45.
So he or she was like still stewing about it.
With the guest, yeah, was thinking about it. It. was
You know,
something
when
that
it
they
comes
were
to
heating about.
reviews,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, who do you
Where was
trust?
this
Who do you
review?
trust?
Where was this review on? What platform?
Open table.
Yeah, which
Ooh.
usually it doesn't. It takes a day, but it'll also tell you when it was posted, about which dining day they were there for.
Well,
Yeah,
do you
so it's
flip
like
a
I have
coin
the
whether you
details.
trust an employee more than a guest? And do you take into account the guest? Like, have you known this guest for a while? Are they known?
No, completely
We don't know.
unfamiliar, but they have stated that they have dined with us before.
Okay.
And I can go back and I can look at their dining history and I can see
Absolutely.
that yes, they were there exactly a year ago,
Okay.
the same weekend. So I know that.
I
that
think
they have
trust
been
is
here
a
before.
currency. So whether it's an employee or a guest, I tend to side. Look, I tend to side more with the employees,
Right.
unless I know they're
It's your
100%.
house,
And you've
it's your
seen
army,
me,
of course.
Yeah, of course. We want to support, but are there employees that sometimes know that they can? I don't want to say manipulate the boss,
Right.
but I've heard people
of
say,
course.
"Oh, Yianni, he's a teddy bear. He's easy." Am I? I mean, I can be.
No, of
But
course.
there's certain people that have more pull with me than
Right, other
others.
people, sure.
And I'd like to think that trust or performance or just the good nature of that person. But I'm using your scenario
Right.
to where I would think somebody like, who do we love? That's a server at Sophia. Our Sophia.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I love Sophia. I think she's phenomenal, right? I might walk into a restaurant and she go, "Oh, Yianni, by the way, this lady came in and I don't think she was so happy." And I'm like, okay.
Right.
And then I see the review the next day, and then I'm like, do I go back to Sophia and say, "Sophia, maybe you want to tell me a little bit more?" But that person, the way
Right.
she's saying it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how could somebody hate?
So
Yeah, but you would ask also, like, what do you mean she wasn't happy?
What do you mean she wasn't? Hey, it's 9:00. We start 5 minutes, and she says, "I want to sit now." And I say, Madam, you have to wait
Right.
just a few more minutes, please." And if that guest, says, go to hell and then writes a review or whatever, and this is where I love your question because
Right.
we could go like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
different ways. And I'm playing all these scenarios in my head as you ask that question over the past 20 years. And I'm like, ooh, because
Right.
there's some employees that I'm like, no.
Yeah. And then it's like, your employees too. So I know for a fact that this particular person, while their usual like personality
Uh-huh.
is very like direct,
Okay.
I would never say that they were rude. but I can understand how their personality would come across as rude
Okay.
to.
Oh, I know you're talking
to a
about.
guest.
Okay.
Well, at the
So-
same token, I'm sorry. If you say no to a customer any which way, even the nicest way, they're going to take it as rude anyway because you said
Right.
no to them. So you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, sure.
But I get what you're saying. And
Was this on a busy weekend by any chance?
It was a Saturday.
So I would use that with a grain of salt. You know,
Right.
that's our busy time. Right? I mean, we've seen him on vacation. You've seen him on the boardwalk. It's
Yeah, sure.
stressful. It's a lot. I just want some
eat.
breakfast. I just want to eat. Okay. It's 8:58. Really? You can't open the door? You know what? I'm going somewhere else.
oh yeah,
Right.
I'm going to George's place down the street. Oh, please help yourself.
Right, sure. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the guest is not always right. Actually, Yianni taught me that over the 20 years I've known him. And he's right. And I have witnessed firsthand with experience that they want to just say stuff that's not true. They want to make themselves believe that they're always in the right because they're entitled or whatnot. But your staff is your team. It's
Right.
your house. It's your army. It's your It's who
Family.
you are. It's your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even including in the review too, you know, wanting somebody to have reached out to them because they feel that they are owed that apology too.
Nick,
You know, it's
Nick,
just like-
I'd like to point something out.
Yeah.
You've done something that I've never done in my professional career.
I've reached out to a guest.
I've never I'm saying it on camera. I've never responded to a review, good or bad, because I feel like now that we're getting to know each other better, I feel like that's going to hold me back.
Right.
And I know every review is not what's the word?
Well, you can't appease everyone. first of
Appease,
all.
but I take it with a grain of salt. Not to say that I stopped looking at reviews a couple years ago because I'm like, okay, now look at everybody else's reviews, and I'll see some. I'm just looking for consistency. But when it comes to me, I'm like, these things really hurt me emotionally.
Right.
Like I take these to heart, and I feel like if I, especially me with my big mouth, I'm not going to say some very nice things. And those words will never leave forever.
Right.
And then there's another part of me that's like, maybe the guest will try to take advantage.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would equate that to, I don't know, let's say a chain restaurant. How was your food today? I didn't really like my
Right.
steak that much. Oh, here's a free appetizer card. Hope you come and join us again. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think you got to take the punches and go with it. Because some of the reviews, Nick, I believe are excellent reviews.
Right.
And you could tell by the quality, seriously, of the writing. You know what I mean? Not F this place or, 2 minutes and I couldn't get in. I think anybody with some kind of mid to average IQ can figure out which reviews are bullshit.
Legit, and which are bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. And some are really emotionally based. And I equate that to something we talked about earlier about being on vacation. Vacation can be stressful.
It is.
But to answer your original question, I'm not going to flip a coin on that. I would side with the employee,
Right.
historically speaking.
Sure.
And it's happened a few times because if you're not there to protect your employees, they're just going to get walked all over. And you don't want that culture there.
No,
and
100%. Yeah.
I'm not saying they're always right.
But they're also a reflection of your house. They're
Right,
also a
true.
reflection of your business, and you want to protect them.
Yeah.
You have to protect them.
But I mean, if they do have issues, you want to make sure that you correct those issues too,
100%.
because they are a reflection.
Well, I know you have
Of
very
course.
high
Your
standards. So,
standards, you know?
yeah, absolutely. So when it comes down to it, now moving forward,
Right.
if you never want to respond to a review ever again, I'm okay with that.
Sometimes you have to respond to a review, though.
Occasionally.
Well, if it's,
I got a 1-star review once, and I was reading it.
did
I'm
you say
like,
once? Like once in your life?
yeah, like
I think
last
you've got
year.
more than one.
No.
Just one?
Regardless, it was a 1-star. It was a 1-star, and I'm reading it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So I reached out to her.
Was it an X?
No.
Okay.
She wrote the review for a wrong restaurant. She dined at our restaurant, then she dined at another restaurant another time, but she got the two confused.
Really?
Yeah, because she was talking about veal, and we tried correcting it, but whatever else we gave her with the veal was the best thing she's ever had. And I wrote up, I'm like, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I've never had veal on my menu since I opened. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I meant so and so.
Completely.
Sometimes you gotta.
completely
A different
wrong,
restaurant.
Sometimes you gotta. But
So, Nick, what was the finale with your guest? You
Oh, so
contacted
I
her? Did you
contacted
talk to her
them.
on the phone?
We talked. I said, I'm sorry that you
Like
had
on the
that-
phone?
Yeah, I called her.
Wow.
I said, I'm sorry that you had that experience at our establishment. I'm going to look into that matter. And, I hope that this isn't a reflection on the type of service that we like to provide.
Very
here.
well done, brother.
And I will look into it on my end and ensure that this issue doesn't happen again.
just so we're again on the same page, I don't know how to talk like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to talk like that.
Right.
Lady, what do you got? What's your problem? What's the matter? Well, I said, well, listen, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Next time you're in Cape May, here's my personal phone number.
Right.
Okay. Shoot me a text. Give me something to work with.
I
But
mean,
those
I'm
things
not-
that you just said were really nice.
I'm not always like that.
Oh, I know.
But
Oh,
sometimes I like to, if I can do it and I have the strength to do that, I will do that. for people.
me the strength.
You know.
And I think it's important too. And maybe I've lost some of that over the years because there's that honeymoon phase that we talk about
Right.
in the business. And I think obviously I cared about the business. I can attest, obviously he cared about the business. But there are times where, I'm just like, go after yourself. I'm not in the mood. And
No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. But whatever it takes. And just so it doesn't go unnoticed, knowing that you did go through that, I hope you keep that consistent. But I think after a couple of years, you're going to be like, you know what?
Yeah.
What was that? When was it? Was it this year, last year? The one lady, she always gets a Greek salad from George's place, always.
Right.
And then she called, I think it was last year, and she demanded a refund and another salad because her salad that she got was missing 3 olives. Like, no shit.
It's
And, the olives are an accoutrement. It's a condiment per se. It's not like what you're actually getting for the salad. But she was so adamant and so mad
that she didn't get her olive.
that she didn't get her olives, that she wanted a whole new salad and she wanted her money back. So there's guests like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this guest was nice about it, or maybe they were having a bad day, or maybe she was right and the server was there 9:02. Who knows? Right. But
And I think that's where when it's a long time guest and something like that occurs, maybe not in that fashion, but there is some pull when it comes to who do you trust, your employee or your guest. And I think he just made a great example. Sometimes I forget everybody has their own lives and something could be going on because sometimes I just see red and my mouth runs and I feel bad afterwards.
Right.
But, we're talking about 3 Olive Lady. Can we just call her 3 Olive Lady?
3 olive lady it is.
Maybe she's like, you know what? I demand some respect. I want to be heard. I've been a guest here for 20 years and this is what I want. Can you make it happen? I'm like, I can if you stop talking to me while nodding your head like that because it reminds me of my ex-wife. Can you stop? Yeah, that just happened.
Right. Oh, God.
I'm Yianni.
I'm Nikos.
I'm Nick.
The customer's not always right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Peace.
Out.
What you got?
What do you want?